July is just around the corner. If you think the harsh July sun will cause your container garden to wither and die, you're missing out on the most bountiful harvest of the year. While most people assume peak summer heat will kill off potted plants, the right crops will do the exact opposite. The secret to midsummer container gardening isn't shading your patio. It's choosing crops biologically designed to treat intense sunlight like premium fuel. Today, we're counting down the 15 container vegetables that thrive in July heat. We're talking about incredibly resilient, desert-adapted plants backed by agricultural research that don't just tolerate baking hot potting soil, they actually require it to grow at an explosive rate. Make sure to stick around for the last one. It will definitely surprise you. Let's get started.
Kicking off our countdown at number 15 is a phenomenal drought-tolerant vining plant native to the hot, arid regions of Mexico and Central America, the cucamelon. Also widely known as the Mexican sour gherkin, this highly vigorous climbing plant produces hundreds of tiny, grape-sized fruits that look exactly like miniature watermelons but taste like crisp cucumbers perfectly soaked in fresh lime juice. Standard cucumbers often collapse and die under July's intense UV rays because their expansive leaves transpire water faster than their roots can drink. The cucamelon, however, possesses a brilliant evolutionary adaptation, highly specialized, micro-sized foliage. Because its leaves are incredibly small, it drastically reduces its overall surface area, naturally minimizing the enormous amount of water usually lost to daytime transpiration. Furthermore, as the summer progresses, the cucamelon secretly develops a substantial, thick, radish-like tuber deep underground inside your pot. This subterranean structure functions as a hidden water and energy reservoir, allowing the plant to easily survive severe, multi-day heat waves without dropping a single flower. For your container setup, you absolutely must use a deep 5 to 10 gallon pot paired with a lightweight vertical trellis. The soil should be well draining, heavily amended with perlite to prevent root rot during heavy summer thunderstorms. Agricultural data published by the University of California Cooperative Extension shows that cucamelons robustly thrive in hot, arid, high-stress conditions, making the brutal month of July the absolute ultimate window to watch this vigorous vine completely take over your balcony. They require virtually zero pruning, ignore common garden pests, and provide a relentless, crunchy harvest all the way until the first autumn frost. Fun fact: cucamelons are not a modern genetically modified hybrid. They are a pure, ancient heirloom crop that was heavily cultivated and eaten by the Aztec civilization long before European explorers ever arrived in the Americas. Coming in at number 14 is a brilliant botanical imposter that completely laughs at heat waves and solves the biggest frustration of summer gardening: the Armenian cucumber. If you try to grow standard traditional slicing cucumbers in a patio pot during the middle of July, the extreme heat and drought stress almost always trigger a profound biological panic response. The stressed plant will flood its developing fruits with cucurbitacins, the exact chemical compounds that turn cucumbers horribly, inedibly bitter. The Armenian cucumber flawlessly bypasses this frustrating problem because, scientifically speaking, it isn't actually a cucumber at all. It is genetically classified as a heavily ribbed melon. Because it shares its core, ancient genetics, with desert-dwelling melons, it possesses a much thicker, highly reflective waxy cuticle layer completely coating its leaves. This biological heat shield intensely locks in internal moisture and physically reflects the harsh July UV rays away, preventing solar radiation from destroying its delicate cellular walls. For your patio setup, a substantial 10-gallon plastic pot and a sturdy, heavy-duty trellis are absolutely required to support the large, pale green fruits that can easily reach 3 feet in length. You must keep the soil consistently moist, but thanks to its melon genetics, a missed watering won't ruin the flavor of the harvest. Backing up its incredible resilience for southern gardeners, extensive crop research published by the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension explicitly confirms that Armenian cucumbers are biologically programmed to maintain their crisp, sweet flavor and high water content even when daytime temperatures consistently and brutally exceed 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Fun fact: because the Armenian cucumber is genetically a melon, Its blossoms physically cannot cross-pollinate with regular garden cucumbers. You can safely plant them right next to each other in your container garden without fear of mutant hybrid seeds. Sitting at number 13 is an unstoppable vining marvel that actively pumps water with the mechanical efficiency of a high-powered industrial engine, the loofah gourd. Most Americans only know the loofah as a dried, abrasive bath sponge, completely unaware that when it is harvested young, tender, and green, it is an incredibly delicious, zucchini-like summer vegetable, heavily utilized in traditional Asian cuisine. The biological secret to the loofah's remarkable July growth rate is its broad, wide-open vascular system. The internal xylem vessels inside a loofah vine are extraordinarily wide compared to standard garden plants. This anatomical advantage allows the root system to pump enormous, heavy volumes of water all the way from the soil up to the tips of its vines in mere seconds. When the July heat peaks, the plant transpires rapidly, physically acting like a biological evaporative air conditioner to keep its expansive, umbrella-like leaf canopy perfectly cool while it climbs. For your container specs, you absolutely need a substantial, heavy 15-gallon pot to anchor it, paired with the strongest, tallest trellis you can possibly construct, as this plant will easily grow 20 to 30 feet if allowed. The root system is ravenously hungry, requiring frequent top dressings of organic compost throughout July. Proving its strict requirement for intense heat, horticultural reports from North Carolina State University note that the loofah gourd strictly requires the blistering heat and incredibly long daylight hours of midsummer to successfully trigger its heavy flowering phase, successfully turning your baking hot patio into a deeply shaded, lush green oasis. Fun fact, the mature, dried fibrous network of the loofah gourd is so incredibly tough and resilient that during World War II, the United States Navy actually utilized millions of dried loofah sponges as highly effective organic water and oil filters for their steam-powered naval warships. For number 12, get ready for a highly unique crop that is biologically engineered to survive the harshest, most punishing deserts on Earth: garbanzo beans, more commonly known as chickpeas. Most urban gardeners never even think to grow these in containers, but they are the ultimate bulletproof, low-maintenance July crop. The true biological superpower of the garbanzo bean lies entirely on the surface of its foliage. If you physically touch the delicate fern-like leaves of a chickpea plant, they feel noticeably sticky and slightly damp. This is because the entire surface of the plant is completely covered in microscopic, highly active glandular hairs that constantly exude a natural sticky coating of malic and oxalic acid. This incredible acidic barrier serves a dual survival purpose. It not only severely deters almost all summer insect pests from eating the leaves, but it physically traps a dense micro-layer of humidity tightly against the leaf surface, drastically slowing down internal water evaporation. A 5 to 7 gallon fabric grow bag is absolutely perfect for these compact, highly architectural bushes. They do not require any trellising, making them incredibly easy to manage on a windy balcony. Providing substantial global validation, the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, officially recognizes chickpeas as one of the most extremely drought-resistant, heat-tolerant legume crops available to humanity. They strictly require the baking, dry heat, and long daylight hours of July to successfully fill out their crisp, protein-packed pods, giving you an incredibly rewarding, nutty harvest that is completely immune to the dog days of summer. Fun fact, the leftover water from boiling dried chickpeas, or the liquid found inside a can of garbanzo beans, is scientifically known as aquafaba. This liquid contains such a perfect, bizarre mix of starches and proteins that it whips exactly like raw egg whites, making it the most legendary vegan baking substitute in the world. Just outside our top 10, at number 11, is a fascinating tropical vining legume that spends the entire blistering summer secretly hoarding massive amounts of water and energy underground: jicama. Also widely known as the Mexican yam bean, this substantial vining plant is grown specifically for its large, crisp, apple-like subterranean tubers. If you try to grow jicama strictly during short, cool spring seasons, it will yield absolutely nothing but disappointment. While you must start the seeds in the spring due to its incredibly long growing season, it actively demands the longest, hottest, most punishing days of July to actually thrive and expand its roots. The biological brilliance of jicama is its highly calculated survival strategy. During the searing, 100-degree midsummer days, the plant forcefully directs almost all of its metabolic energy downward into expanding its underground tuber, which functions as an expansive, starchy water reservoir. The long vining top growth can easily endure brutal, scorching heat because it chemically knows it has a large, secure tank of hydration safely waiting beneath the soil surface. You absolutely need a deep, 15-inch fabric grow bag to give the tuber the physical room required to expand, paired with a tall vertical trellis for the vines. Do not let the plant flower. Rigorously pinch off any blossoms you see in July to force all energy back into the tuber. Highlighting its incredible nutritional profile, the USDA Food Data Central database confirms that jicama tubers are heavily loaded with inulin, a highly specialized complex prebiotic dietary fiber that selectively feeds beneficial gut bacteria and stabilizes human blood sugar. Fun fact, while the subterranean tuber is completely safe, sweet, and delicious, literally every other part of the jicama plant, including the vines, leaves, flowers, and bean pods, is highly toxic to humans and insects, naturally producing a powerful biological pesticide known as rotenone.
What did you think of those first 5 vegetables? Did any of them impress you? Let me know down in the comments below. Now, let's dive straight into the top 10 of today's list. Let's keep it moving.
At number 10 is a tropical powerhouse that actively uses the sweltering, suffocating July humidity to perform absolute biological miracles underground: turmeric. Beginners almost always fail with turmeric because they try to plant the expensive rhizomes outdoors in cool, damp, early spring soil, which causes them to instantly rot and die. Turmeric is native to the intense monsoon regions of Southeast Asia. While you should start sprouting them in a warm indoor spot in late spring, they strictly require the baking heat of July to safely explode with growth and rapidly expand. The secret weapon behind turmeric's absolute love for the brutal summer sun is its substantial, architectural, deeply veined leaves. These broad, gorgeous leaves act as giant biological solar panels, capturing maximum UV radiation to fuel underground growth. During the absolute peak of a July afternoon, the plant robustly transpires water through these large leaves, intentionally creating a localized, thick microclimate of high humidity that naturally cools the plant's entire canopy. Your container specifications strictly require a wide, shallow grow bag, at least 15 to 20 inches across, because the valuable rhizomes multiply horizontally just below the surface, not vertically. The soil must be rich in organic compost and kept consistently damp. Emphasizing its incredible health value, agricultural data published by the University of Hawaii explicitly notes that turmeric achieves its absolute highest, most potent concentration of curcumin, the powerful, naturally occurring anti-inflammatory compound responsible for its medical benefits when it is actively subjected to the long, intensely hot, and incredibly bright summer days of July. Fun fact, turmeric produces a yellow pigment so impossibly vibrant and permanent that for thousands of years, it has been the exclusive, traditional botanical dye used to color the iconic, glowing saffron orange robes worn by Buddhist monks across Southeast Asia. Moving down to number 9 is an absolute staple of the American South that treats hot, muggy, suffocating summer nights as a direct biological trigger for explosive food production: bush lima beans. Many new gardeners get incredibly frustrated in July when their standard traditional green beans grow lush, beautiful green leaves but suddenly drop all their delicate blossoms without producing a single pod. This heartbreaking event happens because high nighttime temperatures literally and physically sterilize regular bean pollen, destroying the harvest. Lima beans, however, are a completely different, ancient beast. Native to the brutal, unforgiving heat of Central America, lima beans possess specialized, heat-activated pollen. They actually prefer and biologically require hot, suffocating July nights to successfully fertilize and set their heavy pods. Furthermore, even the compact bush varieties of lima beans develop an incredibly deep, rigorous taproot that relentlessly dives straight to the bottom of your container, allowing them to access trapped moisture that other shallow-rooted plants simply cannot reach. A deep, 5-gallon fabric grow bag works perfectly to support this taproot. Highlighting its absolute reliability, the Penn State Extension officially recommends bush lima beans as the ultimate fail-proof midsummer legume because their incredibly thick, waxy, leathery leaves robustly resist solar wilting, ensuring an abundant harvest of rich, buttery beans exactly when traditional crops fail. Fun fact: lima bean plants are biological masterminds. When they are physically attacked by leaf-chewing caterpillars, the plant literally analyzes the insect's saliva and instantly releases a highly specific airborne chemical distress signal that summons parasitic wasps from miles away to hunt down and kill the caterpillars. At number 8 is an incredibly productive, fast-growing legume that utilizes complex subterranean chemistry to completely ignore poor soil and blistering heat waves: edamame. Planting soybeans in containers during the dead of July is a genius move because they absolutely thrive in the extreme heat, completely outpacing standard garden crops. As active members of the legume family, edamame plants house highly specialized biological nodules on their root systems that are packed filled with rhizobium bacteria. These incredible bacteria physically pull raw nitrogen gas directly from the open air and rapidly convert it into a highly usable organic plant fertilizer deep underground. This self-sustaining biological nitrogen factory allows the edamame plant to maintain incredibly lush, dense, dark green growth, even if the intense daily July watering schedule flushes all the liquid nutrients out of your potting mix. A wide, 10-gallon container can easily and comfortably hold several tightly packed plants, creating a stunning, bushy display on your patio. Backing up their incredible speed, agricultural research from the University of Illinois Extension highlights that edamame planted in the absolute peak heat of summer matures at a remarkably rapid rate, vigorously accelerating its vegetative phase. This allows you to harvest perfectly tender, buttery, protein-packed pods for your summer stir-fries in record time, completely maximizing your limited container space. Fun fact: edamame stands out as a true nutritional unicorn in the botanical world. It is one of the incredibly rare, naturally occurring plant-based foods that is considered a complete protein, meaning it miraculously contains all 9 essential amino acids required for human survival. Claiming the number 7 spot are traditional bush beans, but specifically executed with a highly strategic July twist. While standard, climbing pole beans might heavily struggle with severe blossom drop and heat exhaustion in the peak of July, highly compact bush beans can be planted successively right in the middle of the summer to guarantee an abundant, overwhelming autumn harvest. Because the ambient container soil is already baking hot in July, bush bean seeds planted directly into the dirt germinate at an astonishing rate, often breaking the soil surface and displaying their first true leaves in just 3 to 4 days. The absolute, non-negotiable trick to making them thrive in the crushing July heat is heavily coating your seeds in a commercially available bacterial inoculant powder right before planting. This completely supercharges the root system, allowing the young plant to rapidly establish its vascular network and vigorously push out a generous flush of pods before the intense heat can severely stress the upper foliage. A 5-gallon pot easily holds 3 to 4 robust plants. According to detailed crop life cycle studies by Cornell University, actively utilizing the hot, pre-warmed soil of July exponentially accelerates the vegetative phase of bush beans, rewarding you with a substantial, highly concentrated, all-at-once harvest in just under 50 short days, completely bypassing the slow, sluggish growth of early spring plantings. Fun fact: beans are a vital component of the legendary Three Sisters agricultural method utilized by Native American tribes. While climbing pole beans were historically used to scale the cornstalks, the legume family as a whole acts as a natural, biological nitrogen pump, securely storing nitrogen in its roots to perfectly fertilize the soil for other hungry crops once the plant decomposes. At number 6 we have a Mexican culinary staple that has become incredibly popular in American gardens, heavily utilizing its own bizarre anatomy to build a physical, climate-controlled fortress against the July sun, the tomatillo. If you try to grow tomatillos in the cool, damp weather of early spring, they will sit highly stunted and miserable for months. They strictly require the intense baking heat of July to successfully trigger their rapid, sprawling vining stage. The biological genius of the tomatillo is its papery outer husk, scientifically known as the calyx. While the intense, burning July sun can easily cause severe sunscald, cracking, and boiling on the skin of regular tomatoes, the tomatillo's papery husk physically acts as a natural shade sail and a humidity dome. It completely wraps the developing green fruit, securely trapping a microclimate of moisture inside and physically shielding the delicate skin from harmful UV radiation. For your container specifications, you need large, heavy, 10-gallon pots to support their expansive, sprawling branches. Here is the absolute, most critical golden rule. You must plant at least 2 tomatillo plants right next to each other. They are strictly self-incompatible, meaning a single plant will produce hundreds of bright yellow flowers but absolutely zero fruit without a genetic partner nearby. According to crop research from the University of Illinois Extension, when grown in hot summer containers with a pollinating partner, tomatillos become insanely prolific. Fun fact, despite looking like a modern green tomato, the tomatillo is an ancient, highly revered crop. Archaeological excavations have discovered fossilized tomatillos in Mexico, proving they were cultivated by the Aztecs and Mayans long before the traditional tomato was ever widely domesticated.
Are you impressed by these vegetables? Do you already have any of them growing in your garden? Let me know in the comments. Now, let's head into the top 5 of our list. Make sure you stick around for the final vegetable. It is absolutely going to surprise you. Let's step into number 5.
Entering our top 5 is a phenomenal, visually stunning, heat-proof alternative to traditional summer salads, New Zealand spinach. When the brutal dog days of July arrive, standard, cool-weather leafy greens like romaine, arugula, or traditional spinach instantly bolt, turn incredibly bitter, and rapidly die off. New Zealand spinach steps in as the ultimate hot weather replacement, utilizing a highly advanced evolutionary survival trick. If you examine the triangular, fleshy, succulent-like leaves of this plant under bright sunlight, they look as if they are completely covered in tiny, sparkling ice crystals. These are actually highly specialized epidermal water bladders. The plant actively and intentionally stores excess water inside these microscopic bubbles directly on the outer surface of the leaf. When the punishing 100-degree July sun hits the canopy, these bladders physically reflect the intense sunlight and UV rays away like millions of tiny mirrors, keeping the internal core of the leaf perfectly cool and hydrated. For container gardening, an 8-inch deep pot or an elevated hanging basket is absolutely ideal, as the plant loves to sprawl and trail beautifully over the edges. Validating its exceptional performance, horticultural data from Cornell University confirms that New Zealand spinach thrives in extreme summer temperatures and is completely, biologically, immune to the heat-induced bolting that destroys regular spinach, providing an unbroken supply of fresh, crisp greens all summer long. Fun fact, during his legendary historic voyage on the HMS Endeavour in the 1700s, British explorer Captain James Cook physically foraged this exact plant from the shores of New Zealand and fed it to his sailors, successfully utilizing its substantial vitamin C payload to eradicate the deadly disease of scurvy on his ship. For number 4, we have a highly productive crop that uses extreme vertical architecture to physically escape the suffocating baking ground heat, pole beans. Specifically, choosing heat-tolerant heirloom varieties or Asian yard-long beans is the ultimate secret to a highly successful July container garden. While the surface of your concrete patio or wooden balcony might be absolutely baking at 110 degrees Fahrenheit, ambient temperatures actually drop significantly just a few feet in the air. By providing a tall, sturdy vertical trellis, pole beans vigorously climb upward, capturing vital, cooling summer breezes that keep their entire expansive leaf foliage incredibly well ventilated. This robust vertical growth habit completely prevents the devastating fungal diseases, like powdery mildew, that heavily breed in hot, stagnant, humid air at ground level. You will absolutely need a heavy, substantial 10-gallon pot to anchor the trellis and prevent severe summer windstorms from knocking the large vine over. Horticultural research from the University of California notes that climbing beans intensely utilize the bright, unbroken July sunlight to purely fuel their rapid vertical expansion, creating an expansive, living green wall that can actually cast a highly beneficial, cooling shadow over the rest of your vulnerable patio plants, making them both a food source and a biological sunshade. Fun fact: standard pole beans are biologically hardwired with an internal genetic compass. No matter where you plant them in the world, the moment their vines touch a trellis, they will always, without fail, reliably twine and climb in a strict counterclockwise direction. Claiming the bronze medal at number 3 is a plant that uses the superheated baking soil of a July container as a literal metabolic ignition switch: summer squash, including the classic green zucchini and the bright yellow crookneck. Most traditional gardeners plant summer squash in the early spring, only to painfully watch it struggle, rot, and stunt against cold, wet soil and early-season insect pests. Planting a highly compact, bush variety summer squash right in the absolute middle of July completely skips this vulnerable, stunted phase entirely. The intensely hot potting soil kicks the plant's biological and metabolic engine into extreme overdrive. Because the soil is already at peak summer temperature, the roots expand instantly without any shock, and the plant leaps straight into an astonishingly fast vegetative growth phase. A substantial, heavy 10 to 15-gallon container is absolutely mandatory to hold enough water to support its giant leaves. Purdue University Extension highly reports that summer squash planted in midsummer grows so incredibly rapidly that it actually physically outpaces the life cycle of the dreaded destructive squash vine borer insect. By delaying your planting until July, you allow the first catastrophic generation of these pests to die off, rewarding you with a bountiful, problem-free, high-yield harvest just weeks after planting. Fun fact: if your plant produces dozens of large, bright yellow flowers but fails to set fruit, don't throw the flowers away. Summer squash blossoms are an elite, highly prized culinary delicacy that can be stuffed with fresh ricotta cheese and flash-fried in heavy batter. Our runner-up at number 2 brilliantly solves the absolute biggest, most devastating hydration problem of the entire summer: bush cucumbers. Standard, vining cucumbers are highly notorious for completely wilting and catastrophically collapsing during a 100-degree July afternoon. This severe wilting happens because the vital water has to physically travel several long feet up a very thin, highly stressed vine to reach the expansive canopy of leaves. Bush cucumbers, however, are genetically and selectively bred to remain highly compact and incredibly dense. Because of this extremely short, highly efficient vascular system, water that is actively pumped from the roots reaches the entire leaf canopy almost instantly, drastically reducing the severe physiological stress of afternoon heat wilt. Furthermore, growing these compact bushes in a deep 5 to 10-gallon container allows their robust roots to dive straight down into the cool, dark, moist center of the potting soil, perfectly insulated from the baking surface heat. You must harvest them frequently. The more you pick, the more the plant will prolifically produce. The University of Georgia Extension explicitly confirms that choosing highly compact bush varieties for summer containers guarantees a significantly higher survival and fruiting rate during peak, brutal heat waves compared to their sprawling, highly vulnerable vining cousins. Fun fact: the flesh of a cucumber is biologically composed of 95% pure water. Because of its intense liquid volume and naturally occurring electrolytes, consuming a raw cucumber actually drops your internal body temperature, which is the literal scientific origin of the famous phrase, "cool as a cucumber." Taking the absolute crown at number 1, the ultimate holy grail of the summer patio that has been genetically tailored to conquer the blistering heat: bush tomatoes. The absolute biggest heartbreak in all of gardening is watching a large, beautiful tomato plant drop all of its bright yellow flowers in July without producing a single, solitary fruit, simply because the nighttime temperatures stayed above 75 degrees Fahrenheit. The ultimate professional secret is completely abandoning massive, vining, indeterminate tomatoes in July and exclusively planting highly heat-tolerant, determinate bush varieties, such as the famous Solar Fire or the Florida 91. These highly specific, genetically robust bush varieties were scientifically bred to possess heat-stable pollen. They absolutely do not care how hot and suffocating the July nights get. Their pollen remains perfectly viable and highly active, ensuring every single yellow flower successfully turns into a substantial, red, juicy tomato. A 10 to 15-gallon container is absolutely perfect to support their heavy, fruit-laden branches, and because they are determinate, they do not require tall, towering cages. The University of Florida Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences, IFAS, officially recognizes these heat-tolerant bush tomatoes as the absolute only reliable, fail-proof way to guarantee a bountiful, heavy harvest of flawless slicing tomatoes right through the absolute most brutal, scorching dog days of summer. Fun fact, despite biologically containing seeds, making it scientifically a fruit, the United States Supreme Court legally, officially, and unanimously declared the tomato to be a vegetable in the historic 1893 legal case Nix versus Hedden, purely for the purposes of enforcing agricultural import taxes.
Before we wrap up, we need to immediately address the single fastest, most devastating way your plants die in July. The delicate root systems, literally and physically cooking inside thin plastic containers. When the searing July sun directly hits the side of a black or dark-colored nursery pot, the internal soil temperature can violently spike to over 120 degrees Fahrenheit, literally boiling the roots alive and instantly killing the plant. To stop this catastrophic damage instantly, you must use the double potting insulation technique. Take your standard, thin plastic nursery pot where your plant is actively growing and physically drop it inside a slightly larger, significantly heavier decorative pot, like a thick terracotta planter, a heavy ceramic glazed pot, or even a much larger plastic bucket. This simple action immediately creates a 1-inch gap of pure, empty air completely between the two pots. Scientifically, ambient air is a terrible conductor of heat. That tiny gap of empty air physically acts as an invincible biological thermos, completely and entirely blocking the intense solar radiation from transferring through the outer wall to the inner pot. Your internal soil temperature will instantly and miraculously drop by up to 15 degrees, completely saving your vulnerable roots and entirely eliminating the devastating effects of summer heat shock. The ultimate secret to a highly thriving, massively productive midsummer garden isn't about constantly fighting the punishing July weather. It's simply about choosing crops that are genetically wired and biologically designed to turn that intense, blazing heat into pure, usable energy. When you stop forcefully pushing fragile, cool weather plants into brutal conditions they absolutely hate, container gardening instantly stops being a frustrating, daily battle and becomes a massive, incredibly rewarding harvest. Start with just one of these highly resilient July warriors on your patio this weekend, and actively watch how incredibly fast they claim the summer sun. If this documentary deep dive helped you better understand your summer garden, make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a like. I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments below which of these heat-loving plants you are going to put in a pot this weekend. And if you want to know the absolute best tricks for keeping your containers perfectly watered while you go away on summer vacation, click the video on your screen right now. See you there.